trust you had a beautiful time. I know that time was against us, but that is just indicating we need to have more engagements, we need to have more sessions like this so that we can deal with things properly with enough time. Because now we're trying to squeeze everything in 30, 40 minutes. So we're just waiting for our colleagues to settle, then we can start. All right, I think we can start. Thank you so much. Welcome to the main session. Welcome to the main session of this program. We've just finished the breakaway sessions, and now we are going on to the main session. We are joined by people online. There are actually colleagues who come from even outside South Africa. There's Tabo joining us, who's connecting from Saudi Arabia. We have other colleagues who are within the country who have joined us. I am Refilwe Munuku. I would like to introduce, should I call them guests or colleagues? Or, because today is Sunday, it's not Saturday. Normally we say brethren. But today we have, and I want to say there's 4 experts on our stage. Please, after the session, take time to talk to them, get to know them, ask them questions, tell them what you think. You will not regret it. On my immediate left, Renalyn Ndate Kulati. Ndate Kulati is the CEO of Good Governance Southern Africa. He is a speaker, he's an author. He actually authored a book called A Gap in the Cloud. I believe you brought it with you, brought sample. So check out his table after the session. He is also a strategist and a transformational leader. Those who attended the leadership session, I'm sure they have already drank from the well of wisdom. Then we have Dr. Lindy Zigalala. She was saying we should just call her Aus Lindy. But for the purposes of this session, this is Dr. Lindy Zigalala Mabupe. She is a senior lecturer, a student and staff supporter at the Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. She has been there since 1998. When I looked at the audience, I think there were people who were not born yet in 1998. So she has been in the university that long. She holds 2 master's degrees. If you thought one master's degree is hard, imagine 2 master's degrees. One is from Havana University in Cuba. The other one is from here at home in South Africa. She's also a holder of a few awards, and one of them is the Heltasa Teaching and Learning Commendation Award, and the other one is the Chancellor's Senior Distinguished Teaching and Learning Award. Next to her, we have, should I say you are the last born of our family? We have Prof. Musawake Saurombe, who is an associate professor at the University of Johannesburg. At the age of 23, she was the youngest. Catch this one, are you listening? She was the youngest professor. Musa has over 10 years experience in higher education. She spent almost half of that time in HR. She has received multiple awards. She was nominated for some. She was nominated, the latest one she was nominated for is called the Positive Role Model Award at the Accenture 10th Gender Mainstreaming. So I'm trying to show you that we put together people who know what they are talking about, who know what they are doing. Then directly opposite me, we have Ausmolen. Ausmolen is an entrepreneur who started her own business, which is called Brandmore. She's a chartered accountant who's also a managing director of Brandmore. She also Hey guys, I have to work hard. She's also a receiver of an award. In 2022, she was the Women's Entrepreneur of the Year, of the whole 12 months. So please, let's put our hands together for our extinguished panel. So we are going to have a conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much. And at the end of this conversation, I want us to leave satisfied that we have discussed what we actually wanted to discuss. And that thing that we actually want to discuss is how can we, whether we are entrepreneurs, whether we are in the academic stream, whether we are in corporate, how can we work together? How can we harness one another's strengths so that we can achieve greater impact? We have noticed that these three different groups work well and they have done very good things in their own. Imagine what kind of impact we would have if they start tapping into one another's strength, one another's wisdom, one another's direction. I am so sure that there are things that business people want to do that people in academics have started to research. But because these ones are too busy, they don't have time for research, but they're not talking to the other group. But imagine if that channel is open. Now we start to talk about data, actual data that comes from people who have researched. The same with leadership, the same with workplace wellness, or even personal wellness. So I'm just going to throw a few questions so that we can start this conversation. And I want to start with leadership, because leadership is at the foundation of anything, whether we are in academia, whether we are running businesses, whether we are working for somebody, whether we are in corporate. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, leadership is the foundation of things. And I'm going to maybe ask your wisdom, Dade Gulate. How do you think we as individuals can tap into this thing that looks so scary? You know, sometimes when you look at something and it says leadership, sometimes most of us say, it's not talking about me. It's talking about somebody else. Maybe it's talking about Datukulat, maybe it's talking about Prof. Saurombe, but it's not talking to me. But how can we as individuals, especially in light of self-leadership, how can we tap into that? And how do we galvanize this thing for ourselves first, and obviously leading into the team environment? How can one start?
Thank you so much, Sissy, and good morning, everyone, those that are here and those that are online. I think you used the word tap in asking this question. I like that word because it presupposes that you tap into something that's there. And as Christians, we believe that we were made in the image of God, and that those kinds of blocks of leadership capacity are already within us. So we tap into that which already exists. So everybody is a leader, has the capacity, has the potential to grow. So everybody that we come across are leaders. But sometimes situations or life has not given them the opportunity to just rise. Also, it may be that they haven't intentionally developed certain leadership competencies and leadership capacities that already are there. So I think the point in answering your question is that all of us have that capacity, and that is important for us to know, because we're not going to undermine anyone simply because for now they are still occupying a position that is not what the world determines as leaders. So we acknowledge and recognize that it may be that everybody is growing in some way. So as we work with people both in church, at school, at work, we're working with leaders in progress.
I like that because for some of us who were anxious for something that looked so scary, the comfort is that whatever it is that we need is here already. And sometimes I can come to you for advice. I mean, God has put people around us to help us. And one of them is you, the panel members here. So we actually don't really need to suffer because God has placed the people that are around us. How's Lindy?
Well, can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. I hope it's the morning. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm a very shy person. They've just put me on spot to invite me on this. Actually, as our previous speaker spoke, all of us are leaders, but we don't know. I shared an example with the people that I had. There was a post, they were looking for a pharmacist at the School of Pharmacy. I decided to apply. I only had a biochemistry. I was invited for interviews. I went. I stood, man. I put my ground. I just mentioned who I am, where I'm from, what I've gone through, whatever. Then they asked, do you have any questions? I said, no. I've got a request. What is it? I know the post looked for a pharmacist, but I'm not a pharmacist. Should you hear somebody looking for someone like me, since you have my CV, please, may you kindly share it with them? And I said, please. Man, within 2 days, I got a call. Post is yours. On top of that, I was not even aware that they were going to create a new program. And I was the first black person in that school. They said, you are in that committee that is going to create that program. Yo, I've never taught. I've never created any module. We are sending you to Australia to learn about it. Alone, yes, alone. I went. Remember, those June 16 students, so I know how it is to be out there. I came back, now you must train us. So I had to train them. Since 1999, we've been using a problem-based learning in the School of Pharmacy to date. The throughput rate has been high, 98%, until COVID came. When COVID came, our students, remember, they were now online. They forgot to talk to people. Then we had to bring it back. You have to talk to us because the patients you're going to treat, they are not there on camera. They are real. They said, can we come back? Problem-based, then we can do it face-to-face. All what I can say is we are always scared of the unknown. Go there. Put your point. Even when you present yourself, show the confidence. People will believe in you. All of us are able to do what we thought we couldn't. We have got opportunities. Even whenever you are, that opportunity, take it, grab it, make a difference. Thank you.
I like that. I like that. Before I go to Professor Rombe, I know Aus Molen is a managing director. So we already established that we have leadership qualities in us. Some of us have to dig deep. Some of us have to dig even deeper. But it's there if you find time. From an entrepreneur point of view, how important is leadership for someone who's now owning that company?
Okay, thank you very much. I like what you just said, to say everyone is a leader. Entrepreneurship is an unknown territory, which the leadership that you need can be situational according to what is needed. But what is needed is to have an output. So as a managing director, or when you're leading a company, or as an entrepreneur, you don't know what you're going to face tomorrow, and you can't say, I never read it somewhere. That's when you realize, I am a leader. because output needs to come. And when you're leading also the team, I always say that to my team, that you are a business entity and a leader on your own. And I like this conversation because we have academic, and I wish we can actually instill, because I think leadership was like, you need a position. That's how it was known for. But however, when you are leading the team or as an entrepreneur, because you can't say you're going to be doing and knowing everything, you need actually to push to say, you are a leader. Lead this part. And you actually see that everyone for real is a leader in one way or another. So as an entrepreneur, I wish if we can emphasize that in our academic, to say when the students are learning, they are leaders. It's not a position, which is very critical.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. One of the other important aspects in us building this ecosystem is wellness, especially for our purpose, workplace wellness, because we'll have these people that would have been easily identified as leaders, some of us who are still working towards leadership, mastery, who may be employees as well. And I just want to get Prof. Sarombe into this conversation. How do we make it work from a wellness point of view? We've always heard about this thing of workplace, what do they call it? Work-life balance. Is there such a thing? Can we really, when we talk about balance, my head always pictures a scale. So I'm trying to make sure that, okay, it must be equal number this side, it must be equal hours this side, so that, is that how it really works?
All right, thank you very much, Osrefile. I'll actually like to share some of the insights that we discussed during our session, because I think they're very relevant to the question that you've asked. Firstly, we reached consensus that, we're moving more towards work-life integration. And I did mention that, work-life balance is one of my research areas. And the more I delve into this space, the more I realize the importance of integrating the two, the work aspect and the life aspect. So the best kind of scenario you will have is where the two don't really interfere with one another, but there's a symbiotic relationship between either, because how I show up at work is affected by whatever is happening in my personal life, and how I show up also in my personal life is affected by what's happening at work. And so the two cannot really be separated from each other. So it's very important that we understand that fundamentally. And then another thing that we spoke about was the aspect of purpose. So the more you are within your purpose, within the confinement of your purpose within your work, the less it starts to feel like a chore. And so that then also contributes to your wellness, because when you feel that I'm really where I need to be, I'm meaningfully contributing towards this space, then it also helps mentally. There's a huge movement on mental health right now, and that means being in a good state of mind. It encompasses other faculties as well, emotional state of being and so forth. And if you look at that, the reason why it's so important to holistically be well and the reason why your purpose is important is an important contributing factor towards that, is that you find meaning in the things that you do. It feels, just imagine waking up and being excited to get into a space, to get into a workspace. That really contributes to one's wellness. So that is very important.
There's an article I saw a while back that said, but this was an American article, and it said over 70% of people are actually going to work that they don't like. And I think what you're saying is really important. And we, most of the time, get frustrated because we have not identified that one thing that we can really capitalize on, that we can really be good at. Let's shift to Auslindi academics. Some years ago, maybe let me not put the minister on the spot. Let me rephrase my question. We've had some challenges on the quality of students who either come into the academic system and those who leave. The quality might have slightly changed, but maybe not much. And I'm saying this because the receivers of the graduates in either the leadership space or the business space, the businesses have to spend more money to teach them, to train them again, so that they can reach the level that is required at work. So we have an issue of entering the quality of people who come in, who maybe some of them would have passed maths, 40, I don't know, maybe. And then they take some time to learn, but the throughput is still going to be upgraded elsewhere. So I want us to talk about, because I think it is such an important thing, because it not just affects the university, it affects the businesses as well. It affects the time that we are spending teaching Refilwe, who does not know how to draw a straight line. We could have been spending that time elsewhere, but we are not, because we have to correct here. I want to hear your views.
Well, Sister Refilwe, you're asking a very pertinent question. You know, if we look at our National Development Plan 2030, that is a guide that we need to follow. There, they were trying to level the poverty to try to give us chance to also to be up there. It's a big challenge at the university. We're trying to find how can we reach each other with the high schools. You tend to question yourself, if this student came with distinctions, why now at university is getting 30%? Yes, we know that English is not our mother tongue. It's unfortunately that our universities are in English majority. And for me, I was telling them, I had to do my master's in Cuba in Spanish, write in Spanish, present in Spanish. So now you come to South Africa, students were doing English in high school, but they come to university, they can't do anything in university. Then you tend to understand, even today's discussion, one told us that when you are in, for example, in KZN or Eastern Cape, they teach, where is this gentleman? Sometimes I like not to talk too much. They teach the Zulu English, something like, that's what I even heard today. And I hear it even at the university. They come to university and say, ma'am, but we don't know English. I said, but you got 80%. Why you got 80%? No, ma'am, they teach us in Zulu, but it's in English. Then I was confused. So now we spend time trying to support these students, because I have a belief that what you put in should go out on time. Because if we fail, they are failing. But I'm a person who doesn't like to give marks, neither. You need to earn them. So you have to go for this support that you have. So I'm advising the student to use all the opportunity and the time that they have to go to the support system that is available in each university. They shouldn't go to parents and say, I never got support. There is, but they don't want to knock the doors. So with me, they don't knock the doors. I go to them. I used to send them love letters. Now, there's no more love letters. They say I must do it on Blackboard, because the love letters I used to give them in the class. When I go to the class, they know, Lindy's coming. There's someone who's not passing. You understand? So now I do it online. I send them love letters direct to them. When they don't, during exam I have a report. I haven't seen this student. I've referred this student. But at the same time, it depends on the student. We can do as much as we can, but if the student is not willing to come for support, what can we do? And then they will spend years, then they will be, excluded when they get excluded, university doesn't get money. So we have to put these things in the student's mind. But now, when we push them to pass, to go to, what do you call it, to work, with 30%, what are we gaining? And I'm one of the, in the EXCO, who really do not like to condone a 39 to 40, no a 49 to 50. I don't. I even tell them, if you condone, I'm going to sit with that student and show that student that he didn't go do right here, and then he must come back and learn that thing. And I'll spend and I will leave at 6 o'clock. So it means you need to put more effort. Believe you me, if you do that, for me, the student that we send out to practice, they really want students to come back. And they know that we are very strict. Even last night, I attended a graduation. The student was so thankful that I nearly lost it. I nearly gave up, but you pulled me.
Yeah.
But then how many people are going to be able to pull those students? The thing is, it needs a commitment, and a person can say, did you study to do this? I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but it happened naturally.
Yeah.
So for me, parents, stop sending students to university and dump them. You dump them, they don't focus. Don't apply for them. Let them know what you're applying them for. Let them love what they want. Send them to go, because they come from there. I did it, it's my mother who registered for me. It's my father. Then he finished 5 years, then he doesn't want to go and work. No, I didn't love that. How many years wasted? If you want to apply again when you have a degree, you're not going to find a space. They're not going to take you anymore because we've got matriculants who want to go to university. So we need to bring in those matriculants. You go work. But now these working people, they're not even telling us what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
We still need to reach that gap of where we sit. High school, university, workplace. What do you want?
Yeah.
So that when you create a curriculum, we create a curriculum of purpose.
Correct.
I don't know.
I like that. I like that point. I'd like us to note it as, in inverted commas, a going forward point, because you find the universities are designing a curricula that is not speaking to what the businesses want. I'd like us to articulate your turn. Leadership. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I'm gonna ask you a difficult question, but I know we know the answer. But I know the question is not easy. Do you think there is a leadership vacuum? And I'm using South Africa or Africa very broadly. We know that South Africa has schools, has businesses, has churches, and all of that. So in your response, you maybe address those at the back of your mind as well, to say that there are groups that are within this South Africa. We've just had elections. There are political parties as well who affect a lot of what the rest of the structures are doing. Do you think there is a leadership gap? If there is, what do you think are some of the things we can start doing, even if we are small groups?
Yeah, you're right. It's a difficult one. Look, in my day-to-day or work operations, I see that we do not necessarily have a leadership vacuum in the country. We just have prominent people who do not have the leadership capacity in prominent places. They are misplaced. In other words, the right people, the most appropriate leaders are not being appointed or deployed and put up there. It's a matter of, if you can speak a lot in a meeting or something like that, then especially in the politics, and then in the corporate world, if you can maneuver your way, the corporate culture where some people do that. But I'm finding that I do quite a bit of coaching, executive coaching. I like to do that for the specialist people who are, let's say, an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, auditor, whatever the case may be. Those are people that are specialists in their areas of work, but now they want to move and operate at a high leadership level. And you find that those people are unable to do that because they are thinking specialization. They're thinking, they're used to talking numbers. But at the boardroom, they've got to talk about HR, about, strategy and other things. And it is those people that we need to spend a lot of time supporting and training, because those people have the knowledge of their specific areas, but they now need to transition to take leadership roles. And I find that they struggle. If a person gets promoted to sit at the boardroom, they struggle. They can't deal with other subject matters in thinking because they are not in the process of self-learning. Not everything is going to be taught to you. There are things that you now need to learn. As you're going to a meeting, you're just thinking about the people that are going to be there. What specializations they're coming from? How do I start a conversation with them? So that you can operate at a higher level. This requires a mentality. In the class, in the group that we had, I talked about a concept which is called, I said, embrace the handprint in cement mentality. So you can either choose to be a fist in water, or you can choose to be a handprint in cement, in wet cement. That means that if you have the mentality of making an impact, because if you look at the water, there's ripple effects and then it disappears. No one ever thinks about that. But if you have a handprint in cement, that remains. People say, wow, that person was here, made a huge impact, and so on. So the point I'm trying to make is that in the long run, to say there is a lot of leaders. Firstly, they are not being appointed to the right place, but they are not being either capacitated to take the next level. It is that we need to spend a lot of time. Those of us who are in coaching, who are in training, it is those people that are specializing in their various areas that now need to transition to take the next level of leadership, which is integrated learning, which is more than just your specialization. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Talking about a handprint in the cement, I'm looking at you, Sis Molen. As an entrepreneur, I think this is just an excellent metaphor. That's actually what entrepreneurs want to do. And sometimes they get support, sometimes they don't. But I know that there are lots of challenges. And I know you spoke about them in the breakaway session, but for those who were not here, maybe just a few key challenges that you think can be addressed, maybe by people who are in academia, people in industrial psychologists like Aus Musa, or people in leadership. What are those that you think are low-hanging fruits that we can address quickly?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to highlight what you said, ma'am, when you were saying that you heard that the students will say, my mother applied for me. That's what we are feeling in the workplace. You like, does this person want to be here? It's like someone just brought no direction. So I think parents, wherever they are, they can start to let the person choose what they want to be. Because that's where you find that similar person will come. There's no work wellness here. Do you get it? Because they're coming there, they don't want to be there, because their parents forced them to be an accountant whilst they wanted to be a nurse. So when they come now, an accountant meets deadlines, there's pressure, there's no work-life balance in this place, which is a very huge challenge that we're facing, especially for the interns that are coming, because they're just coming in, you take them as intern, you ask yourself, are you here? Or did you want to be here? Or something like that. So just to answer your question around the challenges that entrepreneurs face, one of it, I think you briefly touched it, the leadership aspect of looking at what do you need to drive the business holistic. Let's say I'm a specialized accountant. I know books in and out. But now the business require more than the numbers. So ultimate structure, how the business is structured, and the key things that you need for the business to grow, it might not be there. I know how to do the work, but I don't know how to lead. I don't know how to put this in place. I don't know the policies that need to be in place. That's the number one thing that is making business fail, which is actually a challenge in entrepreneur. You see that this person is good at what they are doing, but there's no structure in this business. And the business can actually grow more than the person, which is a problem. You're talking about leadership in looking at the business holistic. So number two is the team. The vision is with the leader, with the entrepreneur. But do you share the same vision with your team? Because the most important stakeholder are your employees. If there's no coherent vision within there, which will come to who are you bringing into the team? Where are they coming from? Do they want to be there? That's also failure that entrepreneurs have, the team that they have, the employees, which is a huge, huge challenge. At some point I had to ask myself, am I a bad leader? Why am I not getting the good seniors that I need to drive this? So you start to question that. So the team is core, which is actually a huge failure that entrepreneurs can face. Apart from finance, I always say there's someone, I heard it from someone, money will always follow a good goal or suggestion. So money, I know, is a problem, but if you have a good idea, money will follow you. So also, although it's also a challenge for who is going to believe in you to fund your idea, which is also something, a challenge for entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Time is against us. I want us to wrap this session, and I want to open a few minutes for the audience. Parting shots. We've talked about the challenges, some of the things we have seen, and parting shots on how we can galvanize this collaboration from an entrepreneur point of view, from academics, from leadership, from a wellness point of view. Osmolen, parting shots.
Parting shots, thank you very much for this. I believe academic, they can do much in selecting, maybe putting people to the right position, which will help now there's this part of mental wellness and all those that we are facing as entrepreneur in business as well, to say now you need to take care of people that you have, and it's actually a challenge as well. So my parting words is, I think as the students are growing, let's make sure we let them choose what they want and emphasize, I like what you said, to say integration, because I don't believe that there's a work-life balance, but the integration that you spoke about. So, and I believe that with this integration of the core, academic, wellness, leadership, and entrepreneur, we can actually grow the economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Osmusa?
I agree with what Osmoline is saying, that it's very important to create that, golden thread through the different facets and aspects. And something we discussed during our session was that at the end of the day, wellness also lies with you as the individual. So you cannot delegate your wellness to the organization or the institution, because, and a lot of us, no one doesn't want a comfortable life. So sometimes the only way to get there is to push hard. But let it not be to the detriment of your health, your wellness. I shared that we had 2 colleagues medically boarded off because of stress, burnout, and then within a month their positions were advertised. So in the end, you need to look out for yourself, because unfortunately organizations, the more they see they can get out of you, the more they will take. And if you don't have a boundary and say, this is where, I start and end, then it'll become a challenge. So if we can just take more responsibility. And also I think another thing is to create autonomy. And Ostepiso mentioned this, that, people work differently, but if someone is allowed to work according to what will help them, give their best, other people work better at night. So expecting that person to be in the office early in the morning while they were working all night, obviously eventually this person will burn out. So as long as, they say as long as the outcome is income, that's what we should focus on, rather than micromanaging what time this person came in. As long as what they're producing is, speaks volumes, that's what's important.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone is clapping there. You're resonating with them. Auslindi.
Hey, it looks like we academics have challenges, eh? But whatever has been said is correct. But at the end of the day, it depends on the student. We as academics, we are there to upskill the students. What they do about it, at the end, they apply for themselves for these jobs. Currently, as far as I know, where I am in the school, in the Sefako Makato Healthcare Sciences, I know that there is a platform for entrepreneurship, but then it is voluntarily. It's not in the academic. You understand? It's not in the program. They have to do it at their special time, not is there. The more we are going to put entrepreneurship in academia, we are already complaining that the syllabus is full. Now, when we now have to put entrepreneur, we are complaining we don't have time. Because as academic was said to, we have to do teaching, we have to do research, we have to do community service. So with all that being said, we just need to make sure that we sit high schools, because we are complaining that the quality is lower. How can we make sure? Yes, we've got open days, but open days, it looks like for modeling. It's just students, they walk there. For me, I think we need to check about this open day. What is it opening? Is it opening the doors to the university or not? Then we need to sit together with these where the students want to work. We know they want, pharmacy students want to go to industry, want to go to community, want to go to hospital. We need to sit with these people. What do you want? What type of students do you need? Because I don't know, why do we take a curriculum that we also don't know where is it taking the students to? With me, I'm glad where I am. We are using problem-based learning. We are using the real life situation to train the students, so that when they go out, they know what type of medication for what condition and how, and teach them communication skills. The only thing that we're still battling with is this so-called AI. Hey, that AI is bringing us headache as academics, because as it is now, we are asking ourselves, when they go to real world, are they going to apply that AI? Then AI is going to complain that you were teaching students your caliber don't even know how to write a report. They are going to JT, I don't even want to know about it. Because it's going to make me lazy to think. We need students who can think on their feet, because when the patient comes, they must think on their feet, not on the AI. So we need to work together. Remember, we need to share our resourcefulness for the sake of the community. Not only the community, ourselves, for wellness.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Last but not least, Titukulat.
Thank you so much. I think I feel like I need to do a PhD. I'm so close to a PhD here. So motivating. But I think in terms of answering your question or try, I think this is a great start. We do not know each other, what people bring to the table. We do not know. Maybe there needs to be a database to understand who's doing what services can we get, and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe we can start here to develop that database, because sometimes you're looking for some services or you're looking for someone. To be great to actually have a database. So that would, for me, be a concrete thing that we can do to facilitate like knowing and collaboration to make the impact. I think that's very, very important. The other thing is that I established a ministry which is called From Church Street to Main Street, which is really trying to help us to not think that this is where we have to make the difference more. Because we live in the world, we live in the corporate, we live in the main street. Yes. How do we show up there with the belief system that we have without compromising, but we're making more impact there? Because sometimes when it comes to church leadership, we complain, we compete, we try to push out others, instead of saying, I come to church to rest, to support the current leadership, to move forward the church. Because we do not make the necessary impact out there. And I think it's important that we help one another, we work together to be able to do the kind of impact that my fellow panelists are making. Out there, you're not saying, I'm doing this because, so, but you're becoming a salt to the world. And I think we need to have that mentality. I think the last thing for me is that, just as a parting shot, for those young people who want to be leaders, we need to be prepared to go low, to go high, or to go down, to go up. Because sometimes if you want to learn, we always want to go up there, but sometimes we get there empty with no substance. I made an example in the group that I was working for the city of Cape Town in a specialist position. And then I felt no one was pushing me out, but I was tolerated, not appreciated. You don't want to be in that position where someone says go, no one says go, but you don't feel appreciated to be that. So I took a salary cut. My wife was pregnant with our first kid. I just went and joined an NGO, which gave me the reason for what I wanted to be. That was my first leadership role. In fact, for years, I kept a note that was given to me by a staff member, like a handwritten note. It says, "You are a great boss." And I kept that because that's what made me realize that, this is where I should have been. I took a salary cut, yet fewer benefits and things like that. But sometimes when we are just looking for money and accumulation, sometimes we forget that the most important thing about leadership is learning, listening, and remembering what people are saying to you in order to grow.
Wow. Speaking of a database, I know that the Center of Influence, there's a business and entrepreneurship pillar. They have started such a database. Perhaps Austebiso is here, the leader of the COI. Perhaps that's where we can start, because the colleagues have started the groundwork. Maybe we can make it work. Thank you so much. I was drinking from the cup of wisdom as I was listening, and I'm sure our audience were doing the same. Let's take a few questions. I'm going to take one this side, one, maybe two this section. There is Ndate Matsietsi.
Thank you, my leader. Considering what we have just discussed here, good morning, everybody. I'm not clear on what the workforce of the future looks like. I still have mileage of about 20 years before the official retirement age, not the early retirement. Maybe I might be blessed to get the late retirement of 70, 75. But I'm not cleared after this conversation to say, what should I look like? Looking back at my 20-year experience in the workplace, I'm still not adding 1 + 2 together. Can I just get that clarification to say, what does it look like? Thank you. Oh, my name is Disema Matsietsi. I'm a member of this church. Thank you.
The gentleman in white.
Good morning. My name is Stanley. I'm also a member of this church. I saw that there's a disconnect between academics and the professional world, also getting into leadership. And I think what was established as one of the causes is that students are forced to do what they do not like by their parents. And one of the things is that, as well, students are studying things that are not relevant in the professional world, and that there is no connect there. My worry is that maybe we do not have enough career guidance for students, because one of the challenges that we also have is that we have students that choose things for themselves and then study things that are not relevant in the professional world. Maybe a lot of career guidance, things have changed, career paths have changed. If there is a lot of that, maybe that could help. And I think the work in progress that was spoken about, where we can have maybe feedback from the entrepreneurs and the leaders to say that this is what is relevant, and it might be difficult, but can the curriculum be then revised according to what is relevant? Because in university, people are studying things that they will never do again, as you have established. So yeah.
There's another hand at the back. Ausnomonde. We'll take the last one here. Austepiso.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Apiso, and I lead COI at Sandton SDA. A few things. I think, Prof. Mosta, you mentioned something quite important. I know we discussed it in our breakaway session, but there has been a high element of a new phenomenon called quiet quitting. It's quite popular because of this psychosocial issues that businesses are struggling to combat. So we're struggling to have, you talk about that symbiotic relationship between work and life. We are going to struggle, and I think we're going to continue struggling to strike that balance, hence the new phenomenon of quiet quitting. It's in, I don't know how we're going to tackle it as the world, as the church, as a business. Number two, the Docolite, you talked about, so how do you then collaborate? We had a session a long time ago through Filwe, where we had Professor from Oakwood. You said something profound. You said, collaboration is our currency. So I do believe that collaboration is our currency. And one of the key things that we're doing as Center of Influence is to get to meet different people with different expertise, wearing different hats, get together to collaborate. We have a CA, a small end, we have employee and wellness, we have leadership, we have academia, we have business owners. So one of the things that we're going to do around August and September as Center of Influence is down to create that platform where different people with different expertise get together and showcase what they can do and what they can deliver, and people to address all this collaboration issue, because that indeed is our currency. Thank you.
Okay. The question of the future that he asked, future workplace. I don't know if I have full answer, but I'm going to, looking at what's happening. I think, I don't know, maybe curriculum setting need to actually incorporate what's happening now, like the environment, including business, including leadership, in setting the curriculum that is relevant, fit for purpose. Because I think what we are seeing now, I'm talking to what we are seeing, there is no longer that when we used to work, there's no longer that thing of saying I'm at work, I'm here to work. So it's like the zeal is fading away, which is now the workplace, especially for the new 2000s, 2000 that are coming into. There's more to rights, so which is the workplace right now. So I'm thinking maybe the best way will be when the curriculum for the students and for everything incorporate that. I think for specialized area like CAs, we tried to also address that, the training that the CAs are getting. I'm happy that SAICA is changing the curriculum, the training, like if someone is in the training, it now incorporates like making someone to be a rounded CFO or something like that, because it was used to be auditing, methodology, and all those kind of things, but they're now adding a lot of elements into competence. So which I think the future of workplace will need to incorporate all those different dynamics, because the world is changing. And how best now the corporate need to deal with the people that are coming with those, I would term it, less sort of zeal and something like that to accommodate who they are. Yeah.
One of the things we discussed offline with Brother Costa was the issue of workplace readiness. So you train students in the technical area and it's fine, but you find, and I've experienced it, that we find we get intake from the university, fresh from the university. The students are brilliant, but they are so horrible in teamwork. They can't work together with others, number one. Number two, they can't address others respectfully because in the class, they were told that they are the best student. So those small things actually really matter because now we have to deal with HR disciplinary issues because the genius has insulted the receptionist because he thought he was all that. So I think, and maybe one of the things in Tate Matsietsi is that we are the ones who need to say how the workplace should be. Because I think for some time we have waited for somebody somewhere to do it. And I think you raised a really important point that the people who are recipients, the users of the students, must come to the table and say, please include this in your curriculum, please include this, or maybe even we'll sponsor this. We'll bring someone from our organization to come and teach you this because in our specific environment, we need this skill. So we are the ones who need to design how the workplaces should look. And like Tate Patrick has said, that we need to have that discussion here, and this is a start. This is a good start. Auslindi, the gentleman with career guidance.
Thank you so much. You touched me where I love to be touched. You know, there's a hand there. Can you hear me? The question was about the career guidance and what the student. Oh, you have a question?
He's saying he will ask.
Okay, that's fine. My brother, you know, when it comes to career guidance, that's why I'm saying we are not there when students are guided. We at the university, we are just receiving them. It's even worse now. In our school, we used to have interviews before we select the students. They used to submit their matric results, interviews, and the potential tests. It was dumped. They said, no, that is for those countries. We can't do it to our black, to our African child. We are discriminating. Believe you me, I still do not believe it was a right thing to do. It is important to know the students that you're going to teach, because you start from there to introduce your program to them so that they can choose, are they in or out? So you know that the student that comes in, I'm talking like this because my master's was on that, and it showed that those students were good students and they did very well. So when they come in, then my PhD now came to say, do we need a student support in each school? It proved that yes, you need a student support that will work with the support system of the university. That's student support because he knows the curriculum of the program. She can guide the student, but she can refer the student where needs arises. That was my PhD. Our school of pharmacy at SMU, it uses problem-based learning. That program, it used the critical crossfield of the Pharmacy Council, which includes teamwork, communication, work with interrelated systems and all that. We put students in groups. Each year, from second year, they go to industry, primary health care, they go to community service, they go to hospitals to see what is expected of a pharmacist there. Then they write a portfolio. Before they leave, they know all those sectors of pharmacies include academia. When they graduate, they choose from these sectors where they want to work because they've done an experiential learning. They've got a clue what is needed. That's why I'm saying some of these courses, I don't know where they take the curriculum from. So you need to really make sure students they understand what is it that they're expected to do when they finish. Like the first years, we even send them to primary health care to go and see the clinics. What should the pharmacy do there? What is needed? Then they are asked by the sisters this question, that question. They come back and read harder. So this is what I'll be expected to do. For me is we need to look, if the student is there, Let's make a difference. Let's touch that student and make a difference. For me, it doesn't matter, even if it's 2 students. If you touch one, that one will go and tell the others. And others will see from the development of that student to say, this is good. Let us go and do it. So for me, touch one, touch all. Thank you.
Thank you. You wanted to say something
Okay.
today, Patrick?
Thank you. My view is that when it comes to these issues of Gen Z and AI and all of that, those of us who are older have to learn how to do that. Last week on Sunday, I wrote an article, and I work with the researchers and people that write, and I sent it to them to work on it. One of them put it onto the ChatGPT thing. All right, you can see by the adjectives and things like that. But I corrected it because I knew what I wanted the article to be about. So what I'm saying is that we need to tap on what they can offer, but also just do the right thing. Just the last point is that from my perspective, leadership is about how do you take even these people that we're talking about that are disrespectful and all of that. If they come and work with me and they are willing to learn, how do I turn them around to becoming the person that they should be? Because it has to do with feedback, giving them direct feedback to say, in that meeting that we are setting, what you said there was incorrect for the audience. Because people, if they don't get that feedback, if they speak out of turn and no one says anything to them privately, in a respectful way, I have a model which is called SBI, where you create the situation that the matter happened in, you describe the behavior, and you describe the impact that behavior meant. And then the person goes away and expect them to change. So my point is that no matter where the person comes from, it doesn't matter. But if they are willing to learn, and as a leader you spend time trying to get them in the right way, and if they do not get in the right way, they know that they're going to be let go, then I think, for me, I'm of the view that we can no longer in South Africa say that we're going to want ready-made people. We can't afford to do that. There's so much huge youth unemployment and unemployability that those that make their way through to us, let's invest as much as possible in making sure that they become what needs to be.
Thank you. It is one question, and it is based on the fact that we do not own the businesses that really make an impact in South Africa. Am I audible? We do not own the businesses that make an impact in the economy. None of them. In fact, the majority of the businesses require people who are qualified and fit for purpose. They expect them to come into the job knowing what they're supposed to do. When we talk about how do we support them, are we talking about small businesses? Actually, not even small businesses. Are we talking about, what do you call them, SMMEs, which are the smallest businesses possible. Now, you can't take a degreed person and expect him to go learn how to perform his job in an SMME. What is important is for us probably to try and find the link between the businesses that actually supply the jobs that we all are talking about aspiring to occupy. Those are the businesses that need to be engaged with. If there is a disjoint in my statement, I'd like to understand what the disjoint is. Because our children are truly unemployed because of it.
Thank you. I would like to propose that the comments that Austepiso made, that we allow them to precipitate and we think about them. the comment that Ndatim Tombeni has just made, that we think about it. We've indicated this is a start. There'll be lots of questions and there'll be lots of discussions, but at the end we need to come up with something that is, in his own words, fit for purpose for us. So I want to say that let's think about them. We've really run out of time. But I want to thank our panelists. Thank you so much, Ausmolen. Thank you, Ausmosa. Thank you, Auslindi. Can I say Abudi? Patrick, thank you. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of this, but feel free to stick around. We have tea and refreshments at the back. You can still engage with the panelists whilst you are having your tea and your cake. There are exhibition tables as well outside. Feel free to visit any of them. I also want to say to you, thank you so much for coming. We hope to see you in the next event. That cost, it shouldn't be too far. The next event. If you want your blood pressure taken, the health and wellness colleagues are also there in that small room. You're welcome. Maybe the best thing is to go there before you drink your tea and your cake. Just go there and have yourself measured if you want to. Thank you so much.
All the students.
They should remain? Okay, thank you. All the students can remain. Everyone else is free to go and have some refreshments.